We're live in the afternoon, the early evening for some of you. That wasn't the plan, but here we are because we got a lot to talk about. Got to get everything set up here, all the mics muted and whatnot. Got to make sure everybody's in here taking a good look at what's going on. I was going to talk about this on the Twitters, but you can't have nuanced conversations on the Twitters. So you have to come on here, do live stream, let people understand what's going on. Thank you for the shout out from Chicago. What's up? And Yuri's in the house as well. I'm gonna be honest with you guys today, so I hope you're ready, because we just gonna get right into it, because there's some things that need to be talked about. So let's get right into it. And I'll tell you the truth. So start with this. This is what you really want to talk about right now. Then we get to dry humping, massage tables, and things of that nature. Headline: Watch Stephen A. Smith call Kyrie Irving a peon, and Kyrie threatened to have his uncles beat up Mr. A. Mr. A then replies he wants all the smoke except with Rod Strickland, and then challenges Kyrie to come on First Take. There are some additional headlines, though, that needs to be talked about before we get into this topic. How about this one? Watch Skip Bayless tell Russell Westbrook he wants all the smoke and invites him to come on Undisputed, where he will call him Westbrick to his face and tell him he's the worst shooter of all time. Why this is a lose-lose situation for Russ. But I'm not done. We got even more. We got even more before we get into this topic. Let's check this one out. Watch Kendrick Perkins tell the world that NBA players think Draymond Green wouldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight. And something about milk and cereal. Big Perk says Dre can get these hands if he wants to take it off ESPN, and called him after Dre called him a coon. So we got a lot of media battles going on right now. The quote unquote new media. You know what they say? The quote unquote new is the new media. It's the new media. There's no such thing as new media. This is not media. This is not what happens when you go to journalism school. This is not what they teach you. This is not reporting. This is not what beat reporters do. This is not what people that write for your newspaper do. This is not what your weather person does. This is not the 5 o'clock news. This is not media. This is not what you get a degree in. This is WWE. This is wrestling. This is fake. This is not real. This is not real. If you want to know about sports and X's and O's and what's really going on in the locker room, I suggest you find out who your local beat reporters are in your area and follow them. Because this is not media. This is not old media. This is not new media. This is Jerry Springer. Okay? This is Ricky Lake. All right? You hear what I'm saying? This is not media. This is not media in the traditional sense. It's not new. It's not old. This is not media. This would make my friend R.I.P. Burt Sugar roll over in his grave. This is not media. This is social media. This is WWE. This is not real. This is reality shows. This is The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. This is Flavor of Love. This is Love Island. This is Love and Hip Hop. It's basically Love and Sports Hop. That's what this is right now. This is not media. Okay? This is all a game to the media people. That may not be a game to the athletes, I don't know. But it's a game to the media people. This is mathematics. Don't make me go Wu-Tang Clan on you. This is mathematics. You want to know the math? You want to know the math? Stephen A. Smith makes $12 million a year, probably more with endorsements. Skip Bayless, $6 to $8 million a year. Colin Cowherd, $5 to $10 million a year. Joe Rogan, $100 million. Tucker Carlson, $20, $30 million. You know what I'm saying? This is mathematics. Find out what you go to your local newspaper. Find out what the guy that writes about the box score in every single game. Find out how much he's making a year. He's not making $1 million. The guy that tells you, the guy that works the beat for the Sacramento Kings, he's not making $1 million. The guy that works the beat for the Jacksonville Jaguars, he's not making $1 million. I make more money than a lot of you. And I say that not to brag. I say that because it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Makes no sense. It makes no sense. A lot of you guys are probably out there doing some really hard jobs. You're probably like, manufacturers and doctors and lawyers, and you're building stuff. You're a plumber. Whatever. You guys are doing some hard. It's hot outside. You guys are doing hard work right now. I'm sitting at home right now with I feel like I'm Game 6 Clay t-shirt on, just making money doing nothing. I'm making money off. It's a trickle-down effect. See, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm not trying to lie to you. Right? It's a trickle-down effect. Skip Bayless said something about Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook said something about Skip. Sites like mine talk about Russell Westbrook and Skip Bayless. We get paid. So we need it to keep happening. We need this stuff to keep generating. Because if it was just normal stuff, we wouldn't get paid. TMZ wouldn't get paid. E Entertainment. How much money has E Entertainment made off the Kardashians? You tell me. How much they made off the Kardashians? Devin Booker just got somebody at E Entertainment paid. You understand what I'm saying? It's mathematics. It's not journalism. It's not media. Draymond Green airing his grievances is not media. There's nothing media about that. Draymond says, well, I got my podcast and I want to tell people that doesn't understand basketball. I want them to understand, from someone who play how you play basketball. Draymond Green ain't talking nothing about no basketball in the last week. I haven't heard anything about a pick and roll, a pin down, a high screen. All I've heard complaints and clapbacks and insults. Anybody can do that. You don't need to play basketball to insult Kendrick Perkins. You don't need to play basketball to insult Big Perk. You see what I'm saying? And look, it is too much aggression going on. Everybody's mad. But here's the thing, they're not really mad. Steven ain't not really mad. Skip not really mad. Know what Skip does? When Skip sees Russell Westbrook, he see Russell Westbrook reply to his tweet. He like this. I only got $2 in my desk, but this Skip, this Stephen A. Flipping the money over. That's how I used to fake it when you was a kid. Flip that money over just like that. That's all they thinking. They not mad. They thinking I got you. You know why? Because now you got to watch First Take to see what they got to say. Now you got to watch Undisputed. Ratings go up, money goes up, advertising goes up. Think about it. Terrible people make a lot of money in this industry, right? Clay Travis, terrible person. Fox bought the site. Will Kane, terrible person, makes a lot of money. People giving Jason Whitlock money. Terrible people. You ever heard the phrase before? Hold on, Panda Express. I just had lunch. You've heard this phrase, karma will catch up with you. It's not true. People have lied to you. Karma doesn't catch up to people. Karma doesn't catch up to bad people. I had to learn it the hard way. I used to believe that. Well, karma will get them. Karma will get them. Karma's on vacation with Skip. And I'm sure wherever Skip's on vacation, I'm sure it's luxurious. He not staying at the Holiday Inn. I bet you that resort looks nice. Wherever Skip's at right now. Karma, when did Karma ever catch up to Donald Trump? Or you said, well, Karma, what about Donald Sterling? He had to sell the team for $2 billion. That's not Karma. Selling the team for $2 billion is not Karma. Karma hasn't caught up to nobody. Karma's on vacation with Skip and Ernestine. I don't know where Stephen A is on vacation right now, but I know I seen videos from Stephen A house. It's a nice house. My house is nice, but it's not as nice as Stephen A. You understand what I'm saying? Are you guys listening to me? I'm just trying to kick you the real game. That's why Big Perk got to understand. Look, Big Perk got a nice house, right? Big Perk is on his way up. He figured out the game. You know why? Because it's WWE. What's the first thing that WWE wrestlers do when they get in the game? What's the first thing that they give them? They give them a nickname, a gimmick, and a catchphrase. And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. Rest in peace. Hustle, loyalty, and respect. You know that? That's the first thing they give you. The first thing they give you is a catchphrase. Right? Awesome. Get a gimmick and a catchphrase. What did Big Perk do? As soon as he got on ESPN and started realizing, he could make a little money. Got him a catchphrase. Right? Did he not get him a catchphrase? What's Big Perk's catchphrase? What does it say? Carry on. Carry the hell on. Got him t-shirts and everything. He figured it out. Big Perk was like, it's game 1 of the NBA Finals. What can I do to have everybody talking about me on social media? I know. I know he thought about this. I'm in San Francisco. I'm close to Alcatraz. I'll wear a prison outfit. It's a gimmick. He's working his gimmick. And it's going to make him a lot of money. Carry the hell on. It's a terrible catchphrase, but it doesn't matter. What? See, it don't matter if the catchphrase is terrible. What? It's a gimmick. It works. It works. They don't care if you're making fun of them. Who cares? Nobody likes Clay Travis. Nobody likes these guys. Nobody likes Tucker Carlson. Who cares? Here's the thing. Here's the thing about life. Let's just be honest. I'm just keeping it real with you. If you are a person, you are a person, right? You have a family that loves you and a few good friends. Who the hell cares what anybody else thinks? Let's just be honest, right? Your wife loves you, your kids love you, your mama, your daddy love you. You got some real solid friends. You got like 5 solid friends. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? You got $15 million. Who cares? They don't care. It's the only thing Big Perk messes up. Big Perk just ain't figured out the Stephen A. And the Skip. When somebody says something about you, call you a peon or call you a coon or whatever, like, you got to understand, like, you can't just go on video and start cursing them out and stuff. You can't threaten, violence and all that stuff. You got to do it in a smooth way. You don't want to make an enemy out of me. You can't go out there and be like, start cursing and all of this stuff. That's why ESPN had to take him in the office. It's like, hey, Big Perk, you can't, it's Disney, and we got Iron Man and stuff. Like, you can't, we got the Mickey Mouse. You can't be acting like you're from the hood. That's the only thing he's missing. He should have been like, Draymond, you got all this stuff to say. Say it with your chest. The whole thing about the milk and cereal and the busting the fruit, like you wouldn't bust the grape in the fruit. That's good stuff. I'm sure he wrote that out. It's a good script. It's a very good script. I'm sure he wrote it out. It was nice. I can tell by the way, listen, I've been in the media industry for 17 years. I can tell when somebody writes out a script or when someone has really thought about what they're going to say. Because anytime Perk is on it, he's trying to go viral. It's not natural because he knows what he's doing. It's a gimmick. That's all it is. It's a gimmick. And we feed right into it. So the WWE and wrestling have been around since the 1900s. People love a gimmick. I honestly believe in 2022, people love what happens off the court, off the field, more than what happens on the field. Because, you only play like maybe a game a day, a game a week if it's football. Got to have something else to talk about. And the other thing is that because of television, because of social media, the reporters believe they're celebrities now. And if you can actually convert that into, some profits, it's true. Stephen A, feels like he's a celebrity. Skip thinks he's a celebrity. It's no new, like I said, there's no new media. This is not media. This is AEW on Elite. This is Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes. This is not media. I went to journalism school. 4 years. I know what they teach you. This ain't it. And here's the thing. I realized it early on that what they teach you wasn't going to make you any money. Wasn't going to get you any fame. Wasn't going to get you any attention. And look, some people like that. Some people don't want the fame and all of that stuff. I wasn't like that. I've never been like that. I grew up in the Biggie and Pac era. The music industry, the real music industry era. It's a gimmick. Carry the hell on. You guys got to understand, it's all fake. It's all fake. Social media, it's all fake. And the athletes have to understand that they can't win. You can't beat the media as an athlete, right? Because what is the one thing that the new media, what's the quote thing? What is the one thing that the new media, what do they want? What do they want more than anything else in this competitive market of sports media? What's the one thing that they want? Attention. And you just gave it to them. You just gave them attention. It doesn't matter if you're getting clowned or whatever. You giving them attention. And the media person that gets attention is the media person that's going to make the most money. It's as simple as that. The TV show that gets the most attention is the one that's going to make the most money. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. It's all about engagement. You're right, Justin. It's all about engagement. Why do you think I do the headlines? Right? Let's just think about it. We just got to think about this stuff logically, right? The stories, they don't teach you that, right? The headlines supposed to be short and concise and just speak the facts. They're not supposed to be long and run on sentences and no commas and all of that stuff. But why? You know why? Because there's 100 people just like me that are doing the same story. Now, I got to fight against those other 99 people to get people to listen to me, to go to my page, go to my channel, go to my site. I got to figure out something different. I got to be different. I can't just be the same. I can't just do it the way that it's always been done. And Stephen A. and Skip and all of these, they don't realize that. Nick Wright, they don't realize that. These athletes are starting to realize that. But you can't beat the media. It doesn't work like that because all the media wants is attention. So if you talk about Stephen A., that's just another $1 million in his pocket. You tell Skip, you threaten to beat up Skip, that's another $1 million in his pocket. You talk about Shannon and Snow Bunnies, that's another million. Why do you think Dr. Umar is popular? Why do you think Kevin Samuels was popular? You have to get people to actually to feel something. You have to get people, look, and they're not going to all like you. I said this about Kevin Samuels. And I, it's not even if I agree or disagree with the stuff he said. If you die, right, and people celebrate your death, what type of impact did you have? Now, granted, you don't know because you're dead, but still, You died. People are celebrating on your grave. Type of impact. You got to have some sort of for somebody to die that you don't know personally. You just know them through YouTube and Instagram. And for you to celebrate whatever they saying has affected you so much that you're celebrating their death. It tells you something. Y'all saw Dr. Umar with a white woman in the mall. And it was a story for 5 days straight. You're invested. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to me. You're invested. You're invested in the drama. You're invested in the hot takes. You're invested in the back and forth. You're invested in, don't lie to yourself. You're invested. That's the reason reality shows are still around 20 years later. The Bachelor and the Bachelorette are dumb shows. It's not good. Like Love, all that stuff is stupid. But we still watch. Love and hip hop, that's not good. That's not good for your brain. You invested. You got to be like LeBron. You got to be like LeBron. LeBron hasn't acknowledged Skip Bayless for 15 years because that's all Skip Bayless wants. Skip Bayless may retire the day that LeBron mentions his name. That's all he wants. It's a holy grail for him. That's all they want. They make money. They make money off T.O. They make money off Baker Mayfield. They'll make money. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. So I hope you guys understand. I know it's a bit of a rant, but you guys just don't understand how it works. Or maybe like I said, maybe you do. You know, maybe people do understand how it works. And like I said, you just like it. Don't lie. Don't lie. Moving on. New media. There's no such thing as new media. You guys should be ashamed of yourself. Oh, that's silliness. Break down a new lawsuit that states Texans knew Deshaun Watson was humping tables, leaving wet spots, and sleeping with random massage therapists he met online. Instead of trying to curtail his behavior, here's how the Texans encouraged it. You know, I read this entire lawsuit, all 42 pages. And what was interesting to me was a couple of things. First off, there were several points in the lawsuit where they said that there was other Texans players that was getting happy endings, which you should already know. You should already know that this is not just a Deshaun Watson thing. He may have took it to the extreme, but there are text messages, there are DMs within this lawsuit that states that the people that are setting up the massages know the athletes are taking it too far. And, you know, they'll talk to him and make sure that it doesn't happen again. So this is a bigger problem than Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson just has a fetish. He took it too far. I mean, he's humping tables like he's a 13-year-old boy. Yeah, I mean, that's something that a 13-year-old, boy does, hitting puberty. You humping tables, that's weird. You humping, you humping tables, leaving wet spots like a child, like a teenager. That's strange. Criminal? I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, weird, yes. Fetish, yes. Criminal? It's gray area. You read the lawsuit, it's all about like people being uncomfortable, people thinking he's a weirdo, and all of this stuff. He should have just went to therapy. Like I'm not saying you should have went all Tiger Woods like sex therapy. I'm just saying you can admit to the fact that you may have a problem. I mean, if you're humping tables, you got a problem. I mean, and the Texans aren't the only team that's covered up for their athletes and have them sign, giving them NDAs and all of that stuff. His hearing, as far as his punishment, is going on. I would like to know what he says when they ask him, did he hump the table? Like, does he admit? Because if you ever just really pay attention, if you don't do all the hyperbole and all of that stuff, the man never denies that he did the freaky stuff. The only thing that he denies is that anything happened that was not consensual. He forced himself on anyone, that he disrespected anybody. But like the humping on the tables and the masturbating and the having sex and getting hand jobs, he never denied any of that. None of that stuff has ever been denied. So I wonder, like this, the lady from the NFL, like, hey, could you talk us through you dry humping the table? Like, what's up with that? Like, what is your motivation for dry humping a massage table? Panda Express. And do you think that's could be offensive to somebody that they saw you in there humping the table? How do you think your girlfriend feels about you humping tables? She don't care. She's got another Coach bag. She got another Coach bag, so she don't care. You get them Coach bags, you don't care. Mm-hmm. Well, not a Coach bag, a Chanel bag. Excuse me. You get that Chanel bag, you don't care. You don't care about that. But I think the punishment. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think the NFL is going to want to punish him for a year, and I think he gets negotiated down to 12 games. 12 games, and he has to do like some counseling. He has to admit that he got like a hand job problem, and 10 to 12 games. That would be my guess of what's going to happen. Texans, I don't think anything's going to happen to the Texans because the NFL don't really do anything to teams or owners, which is one of Deshaun Watson's defense. Now, granted, Robert Kraft didn't get like 66 happy endings, but we don't know how many happy endings he got before he was actually caught. But he was caught on tape. And somebody said, well, Robert Kraft's hand jobs were consensual because, it was at the massage parlor, some money was exchanged. And I'm just going to say this. I doubt that a 25-year-old Asian woman wants to give Bob Kraft hand jobs. I'm sure, to make sure that they can actually, feed their family. That's why they're doing it. But I'm sure they don't get any enjoyment out of it. That's just me. That's just my thought on it. Maybe you feel different, but that's just my thought about that. Moving on. Let's see what else we got on the headlines. True. Oh, wait a minute. That's the wrong one. I had a thought about Bob Kraft again. Are we glad that tape never got released? As I was a billionaire, you can get rid of stuff like that. Kendall Jenner posts cryptic message about Uranus after breaking up with Devin Booker and immediately showing up at the beach with her male best friend. And then that follows up with details on Kendall Jenner taking son's Devin Booker back after a brief breakup, after Book saw her out with her male best friend and sunbathing in the nude. That's one way to do it. Kendall was buck naked, sunbathing, and next thing you know, Book was right behind her. He didn't want to give it up. I don't know what it is. I think when it comes to the Kardashians and the Jenners and all of this stuff, I think what it is the fame. Like, you're famous as an athlete. Like Devin Booker is famous for being a basketball player, but it's a different level of fame for the Kardashians. Like, think about Tristan Thompson. If Tristan Thompson had never cheated on Khloe, got with Khloe, and all of this stuff, would anybody ever be talking about Tristan Thompson? Especially after he left the Cavs. Or would he just be another like journeyman in the NBA that nobody talks about, that's just like involved in trades that nobody cares about? But when he's with Khloe and cheating on Khloe, then he's in E, he's on CNN. You know what I'm saying? I think that's why he stays with her. I don't think he likes Khloe. I think he likes the Kardashian fame. I think the fame is the addiction. He wants to go to the fancy parties and have the fancy birthdays, and he likes to be shot by the paparazzi. Now, I'm not saying Book is like that. I'm just saying, I think there's an allure to that when you're with someone that's more famous than you. And let's not get it twisted. There's not many basketball players that are more famous than the Kardashian Jenners. Probably LeBron, probably Steph, maybe Russ, maybe Giannis, like worldwide, but there's probably like maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6 NBA players that are more famous worldwide than the Kardashians. Trust me, there's more people that know Kim Kardashian than Damian Lillard. And that's not a knock on Damian Lillard. I'm just saying that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. So I think it's the fame that keeps them coming. But good luck, book. Hope the curse doesn't overwhelm you or anything. Well, according to French Montana, when you get with a Kardashian, part of the curse is that people forget about your other skill set. People say they forgot that French Montana was an excellent rapper because he was dating Chloe. Now, granted, I don't think that's true. But I can understand that like nobody talks about Tristan Thompson's basketball game anymore because I mean you know why. Headline: Photos from Paul George and Daniela Rajic wedding. Details on a Tyler Perry-ish style love story that included Doc Rivers, a milk yacht, stripper poles, $1 million offer, and Steph Curry. Twitter reacts to the nuptials. That's a wild suit that Paul George has on. Did they go to the courthouse? I think they might have just went to the courthouse. That's a courthouse groom suit. That's a courthouse groom suit. So if you don't know the story about Paul George was dating Doc Rivers' daughter, Callie. Okay, when he went to Miami during the summer, and he went on a yacht party, the milk yacht. A lot of milk on the yacht. A lot of milk, a lot of exotic milk, not a lot of chocolate milk. A lot of vanilla milk, maybe some almond milk, some 2% milk, not a lot of chocolate milk. Anyway, while he was on the milk yacht, that's when he met Daniela. Daniela was a well-known stripper in the area, and of course, the organizers, who I can't quite remember, it might have been Chris Brown, of the yacht party, had invited some strippers, on the yacht because you don't want to be on the yacht with like 17 dudes. So there's a bunch of strippers and IG models on the yacht, and Paul George decided to do what NBA players do. He took Daniela to broom closet on the yacht, and got his 2 minutes of fun out, but he didn't wrap up. And then Daniela came back 6-7 weeks later, like I'm pregnant, and I need the cash. I need the cash. Paul George didn't believe the baby was his, and they went to court to prove paternity. But also, while they were in court, she provided text messages that saying Paul had offered her $1 million to have an abortion, which she declined. So after that, the court settled on what the child support and everything was going to be. And sometime in the 6 months after that, I guess, doing the co-parenting things, they realized that they actually liked each other. So they actually became an actual couple and like did couple things. And then a few months after that, she got pregnant with their second kid. Meanwhile, Callie broke up with, unlike Chloe, she broke up with Paul after he got the stripper pregnant, and she ended up starting dating Seth Curry, Steph's brother. They're married now, and that's kind of how the back end of that is. So over the weekend, Paul, and I think they're having a third kid now, got married to she fell in love with the stripper after the abortion offer, and they're married now. Yeah, that's definitely a love story. Somebody's calling it a modern day Romeo and Juliet. A modern day Romeo and Juliet. I don't know if that's the case, but as long as they're happy, that's all that matters. Sometimes you find love in some interesting spaces. Headline. Watch Sha'Carri Richardson spread her legs to send a message to her haters while calling her fans broke after she fails to qualify for the World Championships. Says the media needs to leave her alone even after she said she wanted all eyes on her. This is sad, honestly. This is sad. You know, track and field really only gets attention around the Olympics time. So almost every time around the Olympics, an American becomes like the focal point or becomes the darling. And you never heard of them before, unless you're like into, track and field. I'm talking about casual fans here. So when we got to the U.S. Championships before the Olympics, Sha'Carri Richardson was that person that captured the casual fan imagination. And she went from, someone that was popular in track to popular worldwide to casual people in pop culture. Um, but when you do that, your story becomes bigger and people start probing about more things about you. And they start finding out more things about you. And that was a situation where a reporter was actually the one that told her that her biological mother had passed away, even though she didn't know that because they didn't have that type of relationship. And then that leads to her smoking the weed, which obviously should be legal everywhere, but rules are rules. Uh, and her not making the Olympic team, and it's kind of been a downward spiral since then. And the problem with track, and it's like this with a lot of sports, probably all sports to be honest with you, but track in particular, you're talking about tenths of a second. You know what I mean? Like if you're running the 100, right, and you run a 9.8, right, that's really fast, right? And the guy behind you runs a 10 seconds flat. You're talking about 2/10 of a second. I mean, that's like that. It's a snap of your finger. But that's the difference between being world class and being somebody that finishes in sixth place, right? So if mentally or physically something happens and you lose those tenths of a second, you go from world class to just average. And she's become average. And my man T. Smitty said Sha'Carri is the hood version of Lolo Jones. All sizzle, no steak. The thing about Lolo though is that she made it to the Olympics, and Lolo's just a cornball, but she actually made it, to the Olympics. Sha'Carri has really accomplished nothing. And the problem, I think, when you have a little bit of that hood mentality, is that, and I tell you, even I had to deal with this as I grew up in the industry, in the business, is that your first reaction when anybody says something to you is to snap back because you can't show no weakness if you're from the hood. So her first reaction is always to snap back because that's just what it is. She has no nuance, she has no tact, right? And furthermore, she's a front runner. So she knows how she loves the attention when she's winning, but she don't know how to handle it when she's losing. So she tries to avoid reporters, or she takes shots at the Jamaican girls, or she's cursing out Usain Bolt, or she's for whatever reason taking a picture with her legs open. Like that's just a hood mentality. That's just not like thinking rationally. But that's what happens when you give someone all of this attention, all of this fame. You put them in a Kanye video. You do all of this so before they accomplish anything, that when it starts to get peeled back, the actual layers of the person is like there's not much there. And it's the same thing, is, and on a very, 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 very smaller scale. It's the same thing with like Russell Westbrook, like with the whole Westbrook thing. Like to me, that's an on the court diss. That's not a personal diss. Now, granted, it's part of his name, and he says it bothers him, but there's an easy way to correct that. So make more shots. You know what I mean? It's not like they call it West Hole or West Bitch. Just make some more shots. And that's the same thing with Sha'Carri. It's like, just win. And also, social media doesn't help the situation. Like, she won a meet a couple of weeks back. And some guy was on there and like, I don't see this video nowhere now that she winning. All I see the videos. No, the videos are on, they're the same. When she wins, the videos are always on there. When she loses, they're always, I mean, it's the same. She gets a lot of love. She gets a lot of hate. That's right, Barkins. You figure out what's going on out there. A lot of love, a lot of hate. You know what I mean? She a lot of love, a lot of hate. That's all it is. I mean, nobody shows the video when she wins. Yes, she does. She's in a Kanye video. Come on now. Let's not be stupid here. Let's not be stupid here. You can't lose a match and then have your legs out and call people haters and broke. That anytime somebody got some money, call somebody broke, it's something going on mentally. There's something going on mentally. So there are other black women on the U.S. track team that state yeah. That's the other thing. You take attention away from everybody else when you just do it from her. Rob, you funny as hell. Well, thank you. I don't even try to be funny. I just be telling people what's going on. Like I want everybody to succeed, including Sha'Carri Richardson. But social media is a hell of a drug. It's addictive, and if not used in the proper way, it's not helpful to you. It's not helpful to you. It's just not. Like you can't do that. You can't do that. And you got to think, man. You don't want to perpetuate these stereotypes that people already have of us. We got enough that we deal with already. What else we got here? Headline. Twitter calls 44-year-old ex-NBA player Steven Jackson corny because he visited O Block and posted gangster videos about how he's the realest while acting like O Block is a tourist attraction like Disneyland. I want you guys to listen to me really, really closely right here. I want you to listen to me really, really close. And I know most of you know, but if young people are watching, I want you to listen to me super, super closely. Super close. Come in my face and listen to what I got to say here. You don't need to stay in the hood, okay? That's not something to be proud of. That's not something to be proud of. That you can go back in the hood. I don't want to go back in the hood. My oldest daughter, Layla, graduated from high school. And she went to high school back in St. Louis. Right? So I had to go back to, for the graduation of high school. Right? And my mom, right, lives in an apartment complex. But the apartment complex is not a bad complex. The problem is to get to the complex, you gotta go through the hood. I don't want to go through the hood. I had to get some gas. I'm like, I get my gas by the airport. I had a rental car. I want to get my gas right here. And these are the same streets that a 17, 18, 19, 12-year-old me used to walk fearlessly as a kid, as a youth. Now, I'm not getting gas right here. You must be out of your mind. I'd rather run out. I'm looking around. I'm looking both ways. I'm looking behind me. This is St. Louis, Missouri. North side. This is my block. I don't want to be on my block no more. If I'm still on my block at 44 years old, I failed. I failed my mama. I failed my daddy. I don't want to be on the block no more. I'm out in LA. When I got to LA, I was like, I want to stay next to the beach. I don't want to stay in Compton. I was in Inglewood. I had a house out in the burbs next to the mountains. The cops don't even show up around it. Ain't nothing to do. That's not cool. It sets a bad example for kids. You want to go to old block, go to the old block at noon and come with some ideas of how those kids can get out of old block. Come in the old block at 10 o'clock at night to try to prove how gangster you are. It's one of the most stupidest things I've ever seen in my life. You're 44-year-old, you have to get permission from some 17-year-old kids to wear your jewelry to play on the basketball court? What the hell is wrong with you? Now, I know Steven Jackson bounces between activist, Muslim, weed head, gangster, blood, whatever. Maybe he's just confused. Maybe he's having a midlife crisis. But you don't have, listen, no, you don't have to go back home. You don't have to go back to the block. Not at all. There's nothing wrong with that. Remembering where you came from and actually physically going back to the block are two different things. I remember where I came from. I remember the struggles. I remember the hood. Here's the thing, I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to go back to having to get the $5 hot and ready. I don't want to go back to worried about my lights are getting turned off. I don't want to go back to worried about my car window gonna get busted in. Who wants to go back to that? I remember when I used to visit my grandma Ruby, who steadfastly wouldn't leave the hood. R.I.P. She passed away last year, late last year. And I remember I used to go visit her before they put her in the old folks home. And I used to visit her, and man, I'm like, I can't. I mean, the pimps, the drugs all on the block, like, I can't do it. And I would see some people that I grew up with, they still there on the block. You still on the block. And I remember there's a place that it's a local chicken place. It's called London and Sons, right? They put ketchup and hot sauce on the chicken. It's a very good recipe, but it's only in the hood. And it's in a little hood where if you turn the corner, right? You turn the corner on the drive-through, you kind of exposed. Like you can't get out, like you blocked in. And I used to debate every single time that I went and saw Grandma Ruby. Did I really want to get that chicken? Was it worth it? I mean, the chicken was good, but I didn't know if it was worth it. I remember one time it was in the wintertime. I had went late for some reason, stood over there, watched a movie with her. I used to watch a movie with her, but she liked to watch the baseball games. And I remember it was about, and in Missouri, in the wintertime, it gets dark real quick. So it's about 5 o'clock on like a Saturday or Sunday. It started getting dark. And I was driving, man. I was hungry, man. I really wanted that chicken. And I was creeping on up to the London and Sons, and I was looking to the left. I was looking to the right. And I was like, you know something? I'm just going to go ahead and get this regular old Popeyes out in the suburbs. I'll get this regular. I'm not going to chance it. You won't see Rob in the hood. Not anymore. Rob has left the hood. Rob is married. He has kids. Rob's not going to be. I have nothing to prove to anybody. I made it out. That's the proof. If you're a kid right now and you think it's cool to be on the hood, it's not. It's not. Because when you're 30 and you're 35 and you're 40 and you're still in the hood, it's not going to be fun. There's no fun in being a 35-year-old in the hood. There's no fun in that. You're supposed to expand your life, do better, get out, see places, go travel, go have kids, go have a family. Get the whole, they don't want the house, 2-bedroom house, white picket fence. Yeah, that's cool thing. That's the cool thing. Being a gangster, not cool. Having the house, the property, the family, the kids, the stable job, Not having to worry about, if you turn the corner getting your head busted. That's cool. That's the cool stuff. That's cool living. That's cool living. They said the crazy part, this guy, Dr. Christian said, crazy part is that they don't give a damn about Steven Jackson being down there. Of course not. Why would they care about Steven Jackson? He cares. That's the problem. You're Steven Jackson. I mean, I don't know. I'm not counting your pockets, but I'm sure you got a couple of dollars. You on Showtime. You go to the boxing matches. You got a half dashiki on, half weed head. I don't know. What made Steven Jackson wake up one day and say, I'm going to go to Chicago, and to prove how gangsta I am, I'm going to go to O Block at 2 a.m. or whatever, midnight. Just to say it with my jewelry on. So I can say I did it with my... What? Who thinks like that? Who thinks like that? At 2 a.m., if I'm in Chicago on a business trip, I'm sleeping the Intercontinental. I'm sleep under some nice sheets and security. We're a lost generation. Get out the hood. Stay out the hood. You don't have to come back. Don't believe that. All these rappers are getting shot because they come. You don't have to come back. The whole point of any type of career, is so you don't put yourself in danger. You don't come back. And if you do come back, you come back at 2 in the afternoon. Okay? And say, ain't no problem going back to the hood to try to help people out. You want to go back and teach them about financial literacy, teach them about education, certain trade jobs that they can use, stuff like that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But to get on a video and say, I'm on O Block with my jewelry on because I'm a gangster and because the kids, gave me a pass, what the hell is that? What the hell are we talking about? What are you doing? Go get them some book bags. Give them some books. Kids can barely read out there. They can't read, but they can shoot a 9. They can shoot a Glock. They can shoot an AR-15. Get those kids some books. Get them some education. They don't need you sitting there missing 3-pointers. That's not helping them at 5 in the morning. You over here breaking shots at midnight. How's that helping the youth? Jesus Christ, man. I don't know what's wrong with these people. I don't know what the hell is going on around. This country's out of control. What else we got? Headline. The real reason Adrian Peterson and Le'Veon Bell have agreed to a celebrity boxing match, they broke. That's it. Adrian Peterson blew $100 million. Le'Veon Bell blew all his money on rap music and hoes. They need the cash because the NFL careers are basically over. They need the cash. Simple as that. Robert, I saw a boy get shot over the burrito at Chipotle. Listen. If you have nice stuff, I remember my wife hooked me up to this, and I'm like, I would never have thought about something like this. She watches like these YouTubes of like people going on vacation and stuff and all this stuff, and she's like, yeah, some of the wives don't wear like their wedding rings in certain, vacation in certain areas because the goons see the ring and determines how much, they may have on them and try to rob them. So I say that, like, if you got some nice stuff on you, be aware of where you're going. Like in LA, they just jump out the car now. That freaks me out. Like, at least back in the day, they used to wait till nighttime. In LA, you could be having lunch outside. They just jump out the ride. Like if you in like Hollywood or Beverly Hills, like the nice places, they literally just jump out the ride. Or they follow you back to your crib. If they see you got the nice car, you got the nice watch on. So you got to be very aware. So, if you just going to get you some donuts or Chipotle, don't dress up for it. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe like the guy that they shot at the pharmacy in Queens, was it Brooklyn or Queens? I mean, you're getting eye drops. And I'm not blaming them because you can't blame anybody, for somebody shooting them. You gotta blame the people that do the shooting. But if you're getting eye drops at Walgreens, maybe not have on all the chains. Maybe not have on all the slick Rick jewelry. You know what I mean? And maybe don't put it on Instagram that, hey, I'm staying at this hotel and I'm on the block. Because these guys don't care. They don't care anymore. They do not care anymore. It's survival of the fittest. You guys be safe out there. My head's on a swivel these days. If I had to go into the city to cover an event, and I had to like park like myself, like regular parking, like garage parking, I'm always left and right. Left and right. I say jump out the ride now. So yeah. Le'Veon Bell and Adrian Peterson are broke. Celebrity boxing makes a lot of cash. Okay, before I get out of here, I was a little charged up today. Before I get out of here, I guess I want to talk about the Roe versus Wade. This is bigger than Roe versus Wade. Okay, it's just very important that you guys understand, and I'll say this very clearly: the United States of America is a terrible country, and it's always been a terrible country. It's never been a good country from its inception. The day we got here, we lied about discovering it. There was already people here. Then we slaughtered all the people that were here and made a holiday about it that we celebrate every year in November. Then once we got here, we realized, or when they got here, I should say, they realized that they didn't want to do any of the work. So they brought in people from a whole other country that looked like you and me to do the work for them. They beat them, they raped them, they enslaved them. And when I say it, you may think that has happened 500 years ago. Nope. As late as 60 years ago, you still had where cops would take a fire hydrant and pour water on people, have dogs coming by the hangings and lynchings. This is the 1960s, not too long ago. You guys might have grandparents that are in their 60s or 70s. They remember this stuff vividly. This is a terrible country. You go into the 70s and the 80s, we put people into wars that had nothing to do with us. They got millions of people killed. You go in the 80s, the drugs didn't just come into the black communities on their own. They didn't come in on their own. Came in from the government. They flooded the black communities with crack and cocaine. Crack and all this other stuff. Cocaine, for a while, that's for the rich people. So, nothing ever happened to them. They could do cocaine, nobody problem. That was the 80s. Then you got the 90s, 2000, where they blamed gangsta music and video games for everything. Then you get to the early 2010s, you get a black president, but that just caused all the racists that were underground for years to come out like roaches when the lights were on. Now you hear at 2022, those roaches are still in power. And they want I always say that the most profound thing that Donald Trump ever said was that he wanted to make America great again. And my question was always, at what part? Which part were you trying to make great? The Reaganomics part, where they made all these, the Clinton part, where they did all the jail stuff, or the Reaganomics part, where the economics and the education wasn't for black people, for the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, the 20s. When was it? When was it great? When was it great? And it's not great now. And it's touching everybody. Hey, Marcus, you back? You took your ride? I was talking to Marcus and the live stream. I actually took his ride. You want to say hi? The live stream. You want to say hi? Oh, the baby's in the car. Okay, baby's in the car. The baby won't go to sleep unless for a nap unless you take her on a drive. So you got Roe versus Wade. So like I say, it's funny. You try to tell white people to wear a mask, and they basically try to overthrow the government. But then they turn right around and say, "Hey, this is what women need to do with their bodies." You know why? Because that's what white men are. They tell black people when to protest, what we can protest about. They call us thugs and animals and all of this other stuff. Now you're just getting down to the women. So women got a little bit too powerful. Let's start taking away their stuff too. So eventually this country is just full of white men. That's why the white women that voted for Trump should be ashamed of themselves. But this country is built by black people, minorities. Still is pretty much ran by minorities. But it's all the white men in power. And when you let too many white men in power, this is what happens. It's a terrible country. It's always been a terrible country. It's never been a beacon of freedom. It's never been a beacon of all that, the United States of America and the flag and the stars and stripes. Never been that. It's never been that. Not even close. So people are visibly upset. And people ask, so what can I do? Well, I don't really have an answer to that. Besides that, you just be the best person that you can be and try to educate people as much as you can. Don't go to O Block and act like it's Disneyland. I can tell you that. Don't do that. But I think every day, sometimes when I have no hope, something happens and gives me a little hope that everybody's not trash. But it's a terrible country. It's a terrible time. So try to, in the immortal words of Marshawn Lynch, take care of your chickens and your mentals. Make sure your mental health is good. Don't spend too much time on social media arguing with people and going back and forth. It's not good for you. It's not healthy. Try to do positive things. Go outside. Go fishing. Do what you like. Go to the mall. Go bowling. Do something. Just stay off online because it's a cesspool. It's a terrible place with terrible people. Think of the people think about how bad a person you have to be those type of people online. So, go find some actual people that are out there living life. Go talk to them. Go feed the birds. Go walk the dog. Try to do something positive to keep your mentals right. That's headlines for today. That's how to get a lot off my chest. How to get a lot. I appreciate you guys coming on and listening. I really do. I really do. I really appreciate it. And we'll probably be back, what's today, Tuesday? Probably back Thursday or Friday with another edition of Headlines. I'm out. Be safe out there.